What is up, Yarnamites? Welcome to another episode of Jane Bloodborne's House of Eyeballs, a stream where we take a path through great corridors to get to where they sat, where they are. How's everyone doing? How is everyone this fine evening? It's very warm where I am. Oh my gosh, it's Funkstar. Hey Funkstar. And also Willow and Dean. Oh my gosh, thanks for the bits. And Nat's here. Claire's here. Awesome. Good to see everyone. So, I feel like the first thing I should do is clarify why there wasn't a stream on Monday. I was, much to my regret, I was at the theatre on Monday. I was trying to get into a show that a friend of mine was in, so that's why there wasn't a show on Monday. I did promise on Twitter that I would. That button's not meant to do that. Let's fix that super quick. Okay, cool. So yes, I was at the theatre. I went to go and see a show. But yeah, I promised on Twitter that I would make it up to anyone who missed the stream. You know, found their lives wanting for a Monday evening stream. So I'll figure out when I'm gonna do that. But for now, we're just gonna progress through Janie Bloodborne's Eyeball House. Oh. So we're here at the Nightmare Frontier, which is this sort of fantastic location where sort of raw, untamed geography of places that we've been to, like the Forbidden Woods, meets this kind of, I don't know, it's very much like the frontier. There's very much a sense of like finality here, right? Like, check that out. What are these, I wonder? Well, as we get closer to them, we're gonna talk about them a bit more. But for now, we're just gonna progress through this zone towards this cheerful looking character. Come on. Okay. Clearly not one of the ones that not one of the ones that exudes parasites, which is good. Nice change. Oh hey, it's Flotaro. Hey Flotaro. Good to see you all. So yeah, what are we thinking about over the course of this stream? So, first of all, spiders with the heads of people. And second of all, like, I guess what the context of the nightmare and the idea of the nightmare as a physical location, what it relates in terms of what we know already about Bloodborne, right? So like, this is a game where one of the first locations, and indeed one of the safest locations in the game, is explicitly referred to by the metatextual elements as a dream, right? The Hunter's Dream. And that sort of leads us to a sort of, I guess, an interesting interpretation of the idea of a dreamscape, a dream space, and its relative threat to us and like position with regards to various characters, right? Because within the dream we had Graham, and we had, this is the one we killed, yes. We had Graham, and we had the doll, and we had ourselves. And from the way Graham spoke to us, it was implicit that most hunters return to dreams, and indeed other hunters that we met spoke of dreams, spoke of having dreams, spoke of I guess, potentially like a similar return to a safe space that we experience upon death, right? So, like potentially the idea of Graham as a sort of a relatively powerful character in the Hunter's Dream. Like, what does that mean with regards to the existence of a nightmare that we can come to, right? Because so far, the nightmare has chosen to present us with a representation of the lecture building at Bergenworth, right? That's where we've been, the nightmare lecture building. But now here we are at the frontier. So what lies at the frontier of the nightmare, and what relevance does it have to, I guess, the ideas and beliefs that have brought the nightmare into being? So if I'm not mistaken, that actually turns out to be someone that we've seen before. But I won't spoil that for anyone who doesn't know about it. Where do you... A lot of miscellaneous roaring going on around here. What the hell? Oh, is it up there? I see. That was weird. No shadow of the Geo, but there is a shadow of the enemy. How peculiar. But the Geo just doesn't have shadow. That's interesting. That's fun. I like that. I mean, I guess it does from... Where is our light source on this level? I guess it's just sort of orbital in the sky. Huh. Weird. Absence of sun. Absence of moon. We are going to do some more killing. Oh boy, here I go killing again. It's not letting me lock onto these friendos, which is peculiar, but... I'm suspicious of our spider-headed friend, but... Oh, hey, look! This is a neat enemy design, right? What does this remind you of? Those boxes of skulls we found at the Hypogean jail near the sacrificial plaza, right? That's neat. It's neat that they've chosen to iterate on it in that way, because, like, one of the things that, I guess... When you look at the design of the box of bones from Yahar Ghul, you know, I guess the thing that you read about it instinctively is that because it has these big, it has this big box, like tying it up, like drags itself along the floor, which means that like its limited range of movement, its snappy animations, they feel justified, right? And they become a part of the enemy's design, its identity. Whereas then they choose to iterate on that by removing that box, giving it freedom, and then not only that, but the appendages under, like, where that box was become a new and interesting attack that you have to dodge around. That's neat. Nat is in the chat saying should have said Yahaha Ghoul in the Korok voice, which is deeply cursed. It's a little messenger lighting the way for me. Thanks, messenger. I do not really remember my way around this section of the game, so... What up? about us is that we do a lot of damage. Oh no. Oh. Ooh. Punish my backdash, will you? Sworded. Ugh, precious souls. Oh, hey, it's regression. Hey, regression. What up? I refuse to show you my Korok voice. Maybe in some hypothetical future Breath of the Wild stream, but not today. I will not break your curse, Nat. You should not have cursed yourself so lightly. Did the name not give you away? Bloodstone shards? In this economy? Are you having a banana? Are you sucking my eyeballs? So, here's some neat enemy design that we're gonna sort of look at a bit and talk about how it builds upon all of these themes that we've seen so much of so far. But for now, we're gonna scuttle on back and see what else there is we can find. I have a funny feeling I've just completely missed that whole area of game. Where's this angry friend? Down here. So yeah, this is really neat, right? They're like proto-dark beasts now. They're like mini shock doggos. Wow, you just missed, huh? Small shock doggo. Get back here. Ugh. Oh no. Please no Rocky. Ow. Oof. Oh, I'm alive, somehow. Okay. This has gone badly. Okay, I have no idea where I'm going. I'm just gonna try and stay alive. Come on, don't get caught on the gravestones. Is it all bloodstone shards here? I feel like I have to check every one, even though they're all going to be bloodstone shards. Well, I guess we're just... Wow, loud. Don't you have something better to do? And just yell at me. Little old me. Is this... am I at the fading lake now? Oh, look. Yeah, I'm just a rube now, huh? what I'm going to do is kill these things and maybe, just maybe, equip those antidotes. Oh, rocks! Are you serious? This sucks. Everything is going wrong at once. Anywhere I can hide that this thing can't throw rocks at me? Maybe... Okay. I'm gonna guess that I'm safe here. Oh good. Another horrifying lake creature is coming. Wonderful. Did I really skip the level? Is this where? This is totally where I'm meant to be going, isn't it? Video games. Okay. Oh no. Not worth just spending it at this point, is it? Okay. Oh, God. Is this... Because if I can open up a shortcut, then we can explore the level at a slightly more leisurely pace. Oh no, no! I don't have any sedatives. Okay. Let's go kill that thing. Oh no. Oh, it's gone so wrong. Oh. Oh dear. Yeah, 57 insight's going to mean that Frenzy does quite a bit of damage to us. It is, however, aesthetic as heck. Okay. Just get out of my sight. Let's try that again. Any congealed blood? No. Awesome. That's a pain. So how get over there? More blood gems. Yeah, I thought the shortcut was just after that enemy. Oh well. Also not really sure how I'm going to be able to talk about that enemy, considering it makes my brain explode to look at. Do those hunters stay dead? I think so. I hope so. Yeah, I don't think so. I do hope so. Well, at least there's an item over there. I like those. Nice bit of insight. Hello. No. So, we got a bit of time. Let's talk about these things. So, the appearance of this creature and its sort of, I guess, departure from most of the enemy design, like, unlike pretty much every other enemy that you will see in this area, bar one, this is not really a graduation of a design that we've seen already, right? Or rather, it includes, oh, it's simply loud. It includes themes that we've encountered already, but in a sort of fresh and writhing new way. So, I guess the theme that it calls on so far that we've encountered most familiarly is this idea of sea creatures, right? And the positioning of these sort of unidentifiable sea creature-y things in the Nightmare Frontier is this place that we will eventually come to get at least some perspective for. It's not by accident. It's on purpose. So, like, given what we've talked about like the Great Ones and kin and like distance from humanity towards some sort of divinity, having shut up. I can't hear my sword over these things. Yeah, having some like so things that look like sea creatures have this proximity to divinity, right? Oh Jesus. Right, yeah. So things that look like sea creatures have a proximity to divinity, and like the sort of writhing, limp mess of these things like serves that theme in this particular case, right? If, for example, we were to say that having presented us with the familiar location of Berkenworth Lecture Building rendered as a nightmare with its, scholars as weird, gooey monsters having spent all of their time attempting to understand the divine, the cosmos, and indeed their maker. I guess if we could perhaps, it would not be so outlandish of us to conclude that these images that we're seeing are a representation of the divine as discovered by the scholars themselves, right? But this is one of the more interesting things about the last sort of third of Bloodborne, is that because it takes place primarily in what are explicitly detailed as dreamscapes of other people, that nonetheless have like correlations and relations to physical spaces that we've been to, it means that I guess if you want to be clunky about it, it means that the veracity of the events is not so clear. Like, what the nature of this space is and what it represents is unclear, like, even to Bloodborne itself, right? It's not particularly clear-cut. And indeed, like, especially considering some of the ways in which the game can end, it has an interesting place in the hierarchy of spaces in Bloodborne, because at this point we're within a dream, but also, if you will, we're within a nightmare at this point. But if you will cast your mind back to the Hunter's Dream, like, there was a lot of talk of this idea of transcending the hunt, and perhaps even some possibility of waking up after the events of the hunt, transcending the hunt, right? So at this point, like, it's probably thinking, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's interesting. It's interesting to think about because it colors the way in which you've engaged with spaces in Bloodborne so far, I think, in something that only becomes more textured as the game goes on, I guess. But I'll have a lot more to say about that once we actually finish the game, because there are a variety of endings that I want us to see all of, and I want to be able to talk about them in the context of all of them. This guy. Oof. How come him no Rocky, huh? Huh? Right. So, how can we get over there? Okay. Like that. Oh, damn it. So many bloodstone shards. Don't want or need those. So, I guess another thing that I want us to think about as we approach what I have informed, we all know is the conclusion of Bloodborne. I guess I want you to think about what we've achieved, like how the mechanics have produced what we've achieved, how they've represented what we've achieved in terms of things like leveling up, gaining equipment, and moving through the different areas of the game. Like, think about that, and think about like how we're managing challenges, I guess, because I mean, I've certainly gotten back into the game, as it were, but like, I wouldn't say I've gotten massively better at it. I've just, leveled up a bit, but like, oh, god damn it, what the level curve of the game is like, how much any given level tracks with, like, your power in a space, is something that the developers have like a reasonable amount of control over. Like, it's not just because, but it is, partially because I'm at a pretty high level at this point, that we are, just sort of cleaving through all of these terrifying monsters with relative ease. That's something that I would say has pretty significant thematic implications for Bloodborne, but as should probably be the tagline of the stream, we'll get to that. Was there anything else up here? Maybe not. Maybe we should go through that poison lake forwards rather than backwards. Just maybe. Cool. I mean, all of this, really. I just, ugh. Poison. Is this? Where's Spider Friend? Is he still there? Is he gone? I could have sworn he was above that gap. Oh well. If anyone knows what happened to our spider friend, someone tell me. Yeah, let's go through the Poison Lake forwards. What is it with Soulsborne games and Poison Lakes? They've always got at least one. FromSoft sure do love their poison. Oh, poison goes down so slowly. Okay, I might just use blood vials. Hey, some cold blood. So yeah, the other thing that's worthy of note about these terrifying sea things is that, I don't know if you saw, but when they sort of jumped up to attack us, like when they got up on their hind tentacles and sprayed poison at us, they had like mandibles but made of skeletons. And that is again like this, this visual theme of, reaches for or like attempt to contextualize the divine, like having to be, reaches for the divine having to be contextualized in terms of video games. Having to be contextualized in terms of humanity is what I was going to say before I was so rudely bricked to death. Oh yeah, there he is. Oh, all these guys are back. Good to see you. Like a low value trade. I've forgotten how we activate the encounter with this friend. Oh wait, there's another hole that we didn't go through? Oh, I see, the hole that we came through was over there somewhere. Okay. Ugh. Hello. Yeah, this zone is kind of a pain to find your way through. I might just not bother with that spider friend stuff. For anyone who doesn't know, that is Pashes, the guy who was giggling at us when we were quote-unquote trapped in the Nightmare Lecture Building, whose voice we also heard while being transported there with the tonsil stone that we used, and spoke some intriguing voice lines about something called amygdala, and that it should go easy on us, or something to that effect. Anyway, come on. So that's going to come up again for sure. You used to tell me I can't walk up there. What the hell? WikiHow level design. There we go. Give me my blood echoes, you coward. Weirdly, that giant's not throwing rocks at me anymore. Okay, whatever. Whatever. But this time, we're going to try not to get owned by that feast of eyeballs. I think we probably have to be at full health. Ow. Well, that'll do. So that's an enemy we only really see one of here, I think. Maybe more? One or two more, but they appear pretty heavily in the area we're about to go to. The next major area of the game. I believe the game files call them brain trusts, because they have giant brains. I don't know if that's like stated in any document actually in the game, but that's certainly what people call them on their wikis. And they're another sort of very Lovecraftian enemy design, I guess. Okay, bye. Down there, I guess. I really hope you can hear this song, because otherwise I appear to have just vanished. But no, there's a song in the BGM, which is neat. Interspersed with a little bit of baby crying. Why not? That's Bloodborne for you. Just a ceaseless dispenser of huge moods. Moods for days. So why, then, why would Bloodborne choose here to begin serenading us? This game that we've decided has done everything for a reason, has, you know, everything is at the very least a conscientious aesthetic decision, if not a conscientious thematic and narrative decision. So why here are we being sung to by the wind? Okay, we're not going to go over there just yet. We need to get that shortcut going. I thought it was over there. Maybe it's up here. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Shortcut. Oh, Stupla's in the chat saying they're proofreading their first paper and writing their final year report. Best of luck for that important science work. Godspeed you. Yeah, I'm gonna just poodle back to the dream very briefly, that I might make sure I have enough vials and or not. Maybe I won't do that. Hang on. Is it up here? Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I've got the vials and such necessary to do this upcoming boss encounter. How are we doing with blood vials? None. Okay, let's get some blood vials. And cold blood. Oh, that's not very much. All these trash tier items. They'll have to do, I guess. So yes, if Mikolash sought to beseech the gods with the establishment of the Nightmare of Mensis, then what's happening in this Nightmare Frontier? Who are we reaching out to here? Or what are we reaching out to here, maybe? Who knows? Hopefully, we're about to find out. Ugh, owned. Same. Which is the way down to the shortcut? I just came this way, come on. There we go. I'm gonna not go in there. Let's just scuttle over to the most interesting looking structure on the horizon, this one. Look, interesting visual motif is recurring. What could it mean? What could it mean? We'll find out. So, classic, very tall tower, ornate, plenty of our gross sea creature gargoyles, our textured, fleshy gravestones that we've observed to be growing with the the rot of society, as that's a callback to our Shadows of Yharnam episode. And these strange poles sticking out of the ground. Now you can see they've also got this sort of shell design up top. But what else is going on here? Let's find out. This, friends, is Amygdala. Do you recognize them? So this is the boss of the Nightmare Frontier area, and it's a pretty cool boss, because actually we could have come here a lot earlier. We could have come here long before learning about Mikolash. We could have come here, you know, I think as soon as we beat Rom, maybe even earlier than that. And there's a lot going on here. So the first thing that most of you will notice is that Amygdala sure is those gross things that were stuck on all of the walls in Yahar'gul, and ultimately in just in Yharnam, the Cathedral Ward in general, right? They're all over the shop. Indeed, I argued previously that they are a representation of the structural monstrosity at the heart of the Society of Yharnam, or a structural monstrosity at the heart of the Society of Yharnam. They crawl along the walls. They are grotesque. They're violent, but they're also like they're everywhere. And the game wants you to know they've been there forever, or a long time. We talked about how they're baked into the even just the art design of the buildings. The gargoyles look like they're everything, despite the fact that people have never seen them before. People have lived their whole lives 20 meters away from several of these creatures, and it's never even occurred to them. They've never acknowledged it. So, I guess a little bit of information. I guess you can kind of infer this from the way the game presents it. But this is Amygdala with a capital A, whereas the other creatures that... Oh, Jesus. Okay, that attack is never not going to do most of my life. Oh no, it's gone wrong. So yeah, this is Amygdala with a capital A, and the Amygdalas that we'd seen that, carted us around the various areas of Yharnam and were crawling along all of those walls in Yahar'gul, those are lowercase a Amygdalas, lesser Amygdalas. And also, I guess, another callback is this thing that we mentioned where Patches, the Spiderhead friend, called Amygdala out by name, right? Patches knew about this creature long before we did, and Patches expected it to be cruel to do something that it probably didn't do, considering that we're alive and standing today. And I guess it's interesting to me that they've chosen to put this boss here in this Nightmare Frontier, because I guess, I don't know, the Nightmare Frontier is where my thematic read of the game is weakest, I guess. I don't know comprehensively what the game is trying to demonstrate with Nightmare Frontier, but I do know a lot. I do have strong opinions on the idea of Amygdala and the things that the game wants to communicate by showing you Amygdala at various times. So, coupled with the imagery of limp, poorly contextualized divinity that we've talked about so far, in terms of the sort of horrible sea creature things, and how Amygdala has been presented so far, and what we know about the nature of Nightmare, I feel like the Nightmare Frontier, to me, represents the edge of humanity's understanding of divinity at this time, right? The edge of, I guess, maybe of Bergenworth's understanding of divinity at this time. Because well, as there's another visual theme that links into this that I'm going to talk about after I finish this boss fight. But like, Amygdala is this structural monstrosity that we've seen, and like we're given to understand that other people in the world knew about too, but didn't really do anything about, didn't really interrogate. Like, they weren't afraid of it, they were just like, well, this is how things are. There are just weird 8-armed creatures kicking about. It's the way things have always been, it's just how it be. And like, with the sort of shambling masses of sea creature stuff, with the you know, the context of human skeletons in their chests, it's like we tried so hard to understand the divine, and this is what we wound up with. This sort of this isn't beautiful. This isn't perfection. This is not God as we wanted to see it. Instead, we're left with just this grotesque visualization of the ways in which our society is monstrous, the rough and like horrible edges of our society, what we thought we understood. It turns out like there were things about it that we had yet to confront. And for me, Amygdala is those, and placing it in the Nightmare Frontier, and next to all the other things it places in the Nightmare Frontier, like communicates those ideas to me, I guess. So another thing, and the reason I've waited so long, but sort of chipped a little bit at Amygdala, the reason I've waited so long to engage Amygdala is you do a shitload of damage to Amygdala by this point in the game. And I know I haven't fought this boss super quick, but like, this isn't an unreasonable time to fight this boss. But for something that the game presents as functionally divine, like a being of immense, like look at those cosmic storms on its hands. That's a lot. There's a lot going on there. Wow, my weapon's short as heck. Wow, it didn't get hit there. That surprises me. Yeah, like the game, it positions you as a being, like, this isn't like a lot of other fights in this game where you are struggling to survive against insurmountable odds. Like, it's not like the fight with Ebrietas, for example, where every damage that we get is like, it feels almost stolen. Like, Ebrietas is clearly a divine being of another class, right? But the game tells you that Amygdala is your equal. This creature that, like, you know, potentially even sired the emblem of structural decay or, like, monstrosity in Yharnam is something you just kill. Something you just stick your hand into, pull its brain out. Like, it wounds itself to contend with you. My weapon is so short. And like, I don't even have that much vitality, but its attacks really do not deal that much damage. Unlike Ebrietas, who could, you know, just throw her body weight at us and kill us immediately, and had all of those cosmic attacks that would kill us in one go. So Amygdala for me, this fight with Amygdala, with its arm stumps bleeding while it tries to club you to death with two of its other arms, represents to me a big part of the conclusion of Bloodborne's narrative design. And a part of why I think this game succeeds H.P. Lovecraft's ideals in a really interesting way. Bloodborne's ideas of, like, investigation, I guess, are not particularly similar to Lovecraft's, I guess. Where a protagonist in a Lovecraft story would probably expect to finish their story, you know, wounded and variously insane, like, now, be really good if I died here. That would be really good. Oh no. The protagonist of Bloodborne ends their story intensely powerful. Oh, stop jumping. Oh, his legs don't take much damage, do they? Can you? There we go. And that's it. We just killed a god. With a sword. Like, this divine being, this creature of intense, structural, hegemonic power in the context of Yharnam, we just stabbed it to death. But why? Why did Bloodborne choose to allow us to do this? Why is that something its narrative was interested in us presenting? Claire is in the chat saying, oh not Claire, sorry, Nat, is it? Well, Claire is in the chat talking about leg sores and the poor spider friend we just maimed, and yeah, sorry about that. But Nat is in the chat talking about how amygdala is actually the part of your brain responsible for some fearful reactions and retaining fearful memories. Yes, that's super cool. It was something that I definitely had on my list to mention and totally didn't. So, I guess the last thing I want to talk about before we leave the Nightmare Frontier is what this visual symbolism means, because it's actually super, super interesting. It's something I find fascinating, because it's something that my first time through Bloodborne completely passed me by. So I've been talking about how the Nightmare Frontier and everything that we've found in it represents the idea of the limits of human knowledge, the ways in which we have attempted to know God, to bridge the gap between humanity and the divine, and failed. We have not, the foremost thinkers of humanity, people like Mikolash, people even like Rom, people like, what's his name, Willem, did not think that, thought this was it, this is all we've got, and it's not enough. They were unsatisfied with the knowledge that they gained. And this visual symbolism here dovetails with that in a very interesting way. So, remember how we've been talking about how these things, which are currently drawing at, I don't know, it was drawing at 30 frames per second a second ago, but now it's gone up a bit. These things are representative of a game-long trend of the divine, the cosmic, being represented as sea creatures, because sea creatures are this familiar imagery of the alien, the horrifying, right? The unknowable. These are ships' masts. This is a graveyard of ships, lost in the mists, at the edge of human knowledge. Which I love. I love that a lot. Like, oof, it's just so good. Portraying the failure of humanity, of humankind's foremost thinkers to comprehend the divine, and like putting that with this imagery of wrecked ships, the failure to understand the sea, the inevitability of death at sea, particularly in this sort of, Gothic Victorian age. It's fantastic. It's so good. I love it. I love this. Look at all this. God. It's good. It's really good. Nat's in the chat saying that this is emblematic of this gives new meaning to the phrase Nightmare Frontier, that the Nightmare Frontier is emblematic of humanity's failure to properly colonize the divine. That's true as heck. that's pretty good. But yeah, so I guess where this idea of that I was mentioning before of Bloodborne's narrative seeking to empower the investigator rather than bring them low and leave them shuddering before the cosmos is, I guess that, like, I was talking before, in fact I made a point to talk before and forgot about how Bloodborne and the Shadow over Innsmouth differ in their portrayal of a sort of fish-like, sea creature-like genealogy among a particular bloodline of people, right? And I talked about how, I mentioned how Bloodborne comes to a at least slightly less racist conclusion about the idea of this genealogy. And the reason is that, like, in the Shadows over Innsmouth, the Shadow over Innsmouth, just one shadow maybe? I don't know. But in the Shadow over Innsmouth, the fish-like, I guess, species that exist within Innsmouth as this, you know, shadowy society, which are coded in all sorts of horrible ways. Like, the realization of their adjacency to humanity is a source of distress and horror for the intended audience, right? That was what Lovecraft sought to portray, that the idea of quote-unquote subhuman entities existing not only in cahoots with, not only side by side with people, but also, like, communicating with some higher power to which people did not normally have access, was terrifying. And indeed, that they were so close to you and yet so different was a source of horror. Whereas Bloodborne says, not only does it say all that stuff I said before about how like these scholars seek the divine but cannot access it because it doesn't permit itself, it doesn't work unless you consider the totality of humanity rather than just what you consider to be its foremost. It uses this imagery of this genealogy to talk about how, like I was saying, like how we get further from God by forgetting our past, but also that it is possible to, by incorporating knowledge of your past, get closer to this revelation, this proximity to the divine, right? Essentially, I view the player character's journey in Bloodborne as success where all of these power structures of Bloodborne have failed. And I believe that, well, one of the available conclusions of Bloodborne supports that idea. So, yeah. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Sorry, that's just the last little coda to what I was talking about with the relation to the Shadow over Innsmouth. Like, instead of the fish people being monstrous and terrifying to ordinary people, in this game, the ordinary people look at the fish people and go, "Why am I not more like that?" They look at themselves in their non-fish-like states and think, "God damn it, this sucks." So, back to Murgo's loft. So as far as I'm aware, the reason that I didn't come back here last time is because, like, the reason that I stopped here and went off to go to the Upper Cathedral Ward and the Nightmare Frontier is that ultimately those are both optional areas. You don't need to go there. So this is one of the final areas of the game. The area boss here activates a sequence in the Hunter's Dream, which once activated you can't go back from. So good old dog crows. how I missed you. Oh, dog crows and crow dogs in cahoots. If they work together, humanity is doomed. Ah! Wow, those crow dogs, they love to gore. I'm against that hard knockdown. I do not like that at all. Ooh, I like that. It's cool. Oh yeah, it drains a load of your blood to do that, doesn't it? Who knew this blood weapon that was covered in my blood would drain my health? Ugh. Ah, more chunks. We don't actually need any more chunks. We need a rock, really. Oh hey. There's that song again. Even louder, babies crying. Oh hey. Did we? Huh. Oh, that's up there, isn't it? Okay. I should. If Dean is still in the chat, could Dean... just dialing on Dean as my wiki user. Could Dean... Is the blood rock? Do we get the blood rock from down there? I feel like we do. I feel like we've... At the middle of the loft, we've ascended past the blood rock somewhere. But I'm not sure where you actually need to go. It's been so long since I got the blood rock. But I do want to do the blood rock. Okay, up this lift. Oh no. Oh, the lift jump. Oh no, not a lift jump. Oh no, this door is broken. Oh gosh. Oh, I'd forgotten about this. I'd chosen to forget. Oh, yep, there it is. Awesome. Okay. Get ready for a couple of tries at this. Awesome. You all heard about video games? Anybody hear about video games? Well, we need to move our lamp, don't we? Not here. So we want to go to the base of the loft. Books. Oh, there's a really long wait here as well. God damn it. Okay, I guess I'll send the cage back down when I die. For when I die. This is one of the like charming little things I'm glad they keep in Souls games. Is the way that the pressure plate activated doors, like you usually are they stop the doors from closing quickly enough so that you can hop in, flick the switch, and hop out again to set it up for yourself when you come back again. It's a tiny thing that I really, really like. It just makes me feel like I have some agency in the back and forth process, which can feel pretty tedious a lot of the time. See, the thing is, I don't dislike the... So chat's talking about how this is, of all the things that inexplicably end up in most Souls games, this is the most bad in video gaming. This particular jump, definitely, but like, I don't dislike the lift jump, I just wish it's part of one of the things I really dislike about the game, which is the jumping. Ugh, there we go. Like, if the platforming didn't suck, it would be cool, but the platforming does suck, so it isn't. So here, we're going to see brains again. So yeah, brain covered in eyeballs. The classic Lovecraftian Shoggoth. I think that's what that monster is called. I don't know. Anyway. Someone who has acquired so many eyes, knows so much about the world, that just to gaze upon them fucking sucks. Explodes your brain ball. I don't have any sedatives, so I guess I'll have to be quick. Ooh, they've got a lot more health than the other ones. Well, time to do that jump again. Suck. Yeah, I expected to be able to combo that one real quick like I did in the Nightmare Frontier. Oh well. Sadly, we are going to have to wait for this one. Hey Dean, no bad mouthing the Nintendo 64 controller. This is a Nintendo 64 respecters only zone. God, I played some Snowboard Kids last weekend. That is an video game, because it's that on the Geo that you just get clipped on. Like this door is actually like like 2/3 as big as it looks like it is. Anyway, but yeah. You'll hear about Snowboard Kids, because it's rough. I love this. I love the way that all of the eyes glow with your blood echoes. That owns. Yeah, I'm contemplating just running past these things. Now that I have the sedatives, I don't have to worry about the frenzy quite so much. Because the fewer times I have to make that jump properly, the better. No. No. Breaking eye contact isn't doing anything. I'm just gonna run. Do. Oh God. I need the help. Ah. Jeez, that was close. And hey, spoiders. Our friends the magical spoiders. but they have human faces. You want to learn magic? Because spiders know magic, so I guess you can become spiders to learn magic. Ugh. Fun fact, the first time I came into this room I did not see that door. And just came back out the other side thinking, why is this room here? So yeah, horrible spider scholars. Oh yeah. So this is a cool payoff, something that happened earlier in the game. So, well, earlier in the stage, I guess. So, you see that thing? If you look down, can we actually see the basically that horrifying glowing room that we wound up in, that we saw even, that, you know, from miles away threatened to explode our brains with frenzy. That's it, there. All them eyeballs casting its horrible knowledge at us. Get owned, 74 eyes. Some plodding going on up there. So then we can hop down here. Oof. Oh heck. No. Fucking... Oh, this is gonna suck. This is gonna suck. I need to go and kill those things pretty much now. Oh no, I'm dead. Oh. Oh, fuck. No. No. Yeah, the rock is on the other side of the chamber it was actually hanging in before we dropped it, isn't it? I think? Or you like drop down one level, get the rock, and you can drop down another level, and the thing is there. Anyway, I'm going to do this again, lol. This time without any sedatives. Chat was asking earlier why the spider scholars have bowl cuts, and like, how else are you meant to visually communicate that someone is enough of a loser to, you know, go to some academy where they have eyeballs in jars and study slug magic, except by giving them a bowl cut? Certified slug magic dork. Okay, I guess we'll just have to play fast and loose with the blood vials. Hello, goodbye. Womp womp womp. Oh, come on! Leave me alone. Some people probably think it's foolish of me to have 63 insight while doing this area of the game. To them I say, you are a coward. Okay, so just rush these things, because otherwise I'm fucked. Oh, the tracking on that is unbelievable. Holy wow. Okay, rather than rush those things, I'm going to rush the Blood Rock. Is there anywhere around here that we can pick up a sneaky 6 insight? It says now. I think, I don't know, it depends how much. It's possible that seeing all of the eyeballs friend in its natural habitat gives us insight. Basically, if the next 2 encounters give us 3 insight each, we should get 6 insight. In fact, if I really wanted it, I do have in the range of 50 insight available from, baked insight, but that would be cheating. Yeah, I don't know. Who is it? Is it like... Who is it that keeps putting platforming in these games? Like, who is doing the level designs and is like, hey, this is going to be the place where we put the platforming bit? Who allows that to happen? Somebody must be allowing it to happen, right? Like, lots of people have to sign off on the level designs for this game. Because there's responsibility, but there's also complicity, you know? Fuck. Stop to scratch your nose and immediately ganked by spiders. Typical Bloodborne. Go here, and over to here. Are there any brain friends out on this platform? I feel like there must be, but maybe there aren't. What's up, brother spider? Oh, you're going back indoors. Fair enough, it's chilly out. So yeah, plenty of people came to have a look at whatever the hell that was, and didn't really like what they saw. Became extruded by spears, which, same. Ugh. Good Foley. Ugh, horrible squelch sound. Corpses that are owned in the particular way that these ones are make a unique sound. What's over there? I don't think we can go over there after having gone down here. So at the risk of finding something that kills me and having to make that jump again, I'm going to see what else is around. It might just be a shortcut. Because you can approach this from another area, can't you? Okay, yeah. This is just another way out of the Mikolash boss fight area? Yeah. Huh, neat. So yeah, you can beat Mikolash, come out here, and immediately get your whole being just goofed by this thing. You can learn a lot in a very short space of time, in a way that, you know, in a sharp fashion, right? So yeah, we want to hit, that's it. That's the culprit. Look, that feel when you're such a horrible creature of, or such a, you know, magnificent creature of, okay, that nearly pushed us down the hole, that would have been really bad. But when you're such a magnificent creature of eyes that just by being in a chamber, the walls grow eyes. How about that shit? You all hear about video games? And that is the Blood Rock. That allows us to upgrade our sword to +10, which is loads. I feel like we can't get down there from here, can we? How do we get down there? Because I kind of want to take a look at the thing that's down there. Oh, you? Wow, my entire life. You're gonna pop off on me again. What a prick. New elevator at the area with all the caretakers. Okay. So, up here then? I think I might know where you mean, actually. No, we just never got this the first time around, huh? Hello, goodbye. Wow, there's a few. There's a couple. Wow, that's no damage. That's not, though. Don't fuck with Jane Bloodborne. Yeah, no, I know it's not this way. I wanted to kill that guy. Is it that left? Just aggro every last one of these friends. Yeah, here it is. This is a really cool thing. I just dig this a lot. Like, there's a lift to the abyss that you can just take. Just like in the original Dark Souls, where you have to do that thing that seems like a joke, where you get this thing that allows you to walk in the abyss, and the abyss is just a hole in the ground that you have to go, okay, I guess I'll jump in. Not so tough down here, are you? God, I love this design. There's so much here. And it's not like there's so much new, interesting texture here. There's just so much of what we've seen already that I love. Like, it's such a I don't know, it's cool that at this point in the game, like, so much has happened, we've seen so much, but yet still the game can produce, like, really horrifying things. Because, like, not only does it have, well, you know, this horrible eye structure going on, but, like, it's got all this recognizable flesh. It's even got tufts of our wiry hair, right? Its skin, such as it is made of people, and it's got hands. And if we recognize anything, it's hands. People love their hands. Hands are a very fine structure, so people are looking to make them out on other things to identify with them all the time. And here they are. Grim. Can't have my torch out and sit down. Oh well. Well, these aren't quite the eyeballs that we were looking for, but nevertheless. I just love how big and useless these hands are. Like, it's neat. It will actually take us ages to kill this thing, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave. Having stabbed it a bit for exploding my head that one time, I'm just going to leave. But yeah. Eyeballs. These are those. So, with that side story out of the way, we're going to go home again. Where did we... Oh, it's up here, isn't it? Hello, goodbye. Not here. But here... But yeah, it's important to note at this point that having killed Amygdala with its big old bulbous head of laser eyes, and having dumped that big pile of eyes in the bin, and having 63 tasty eyeballs of our own, we're like pretty high up in the rankings of eyeball havers at the moment. We've got a lot of eyes. Oh baby. Oh, look at that blood rock. Let's go. Okay, can we blood gem anything? No. Can we improve our blood gems at all? Ooh. We're at blood tinge scaling plus 13.5 or blood attack up. Yeah, I think it's really gotta be this, because this seems to be just way more. Oh, but it could be this slot, could it? Okay. Maybe it would be better off in this slot. Or we could just have both, because they're both circular blood gems. Yeah, sure. More blood damage. Why the hell not? physical attacker, sure. Huh. Chat's telling me I could have made contact with the eyeball friend. I literally didn't know this. Okay, well, that's fine. I'll go and do that. If only it stops chat from screaming at me. I should be so lucky. How much cold blood do we have? 1. Okay. I wonder if a Big Eyeball's friend will still make contact with me after I've stabbed it. Why don't you just fall down? It's quite funny. I wonder if I'm getting through. I wonder if I've got signal. Peculiar. I would have thought the arms would have changed by now. Oh, there we go. Moon. Huh, neat. Have I messed it up again? Like, What was I meant to be doing? You need to tell me what we're doing if we're gonna do it. I don't really understand. Was I meant to wait for longer than that? I was mooned. I was mooned by the gods themselves. No, that was perfect? That was meant to happen? Right, okay, good. In that case, we're leaving. Because there's only so much complete silence I can take. Huh. That's weird. Yeah, so it's really neat that that horrifying amalgam of eyeballs gives you this rune, right? The description that talks about, like, the sympathy of the Great Ones, you know? Hello. Goodbye. You know, it etches into your mind the spirit of these ideas of, you know, I guess, great divinity, right? It's cool. It's cool that this unrecognizably horrible creature has nonetheless achieved some genuine contact with the divine. It's paid quite a heavy cost for it, but, you know, unlike pretty much everything else in this game, it's not constantly screaming, so I guess it's not too unhappy about it. It's just how it be in the world of this horrible thing. What I might do is I might pootle around here, get a few more blood echoes, try and get... Actually no, the next bit is great for blood echoes, so I don't need any more. So I'm going to leave and come back at the middle of the loft. And I think I'm going to make a run at the next area boss. I think we've got enough time for just one run. As if there were such a thing. Are we wanting for any necessary equipment? Yes. As ever. Whomst among us has ever had enough blood vials? Come on. There we go. Ugh. Sadly, we didn't get any insight, which means we're no closer to the most important amount of insight you could possibly imagine. But I will endeavour to strive. Endeavour to strive. Hey, these friends look familiar. Ah, fuck it. Why would you put less than all of your points into damage, huh? How are you gonna do all of your cool, shiny magic attacks when you just get killed to death? Janie Bloodborne is not to be fucked with. I thought I'd made that clear. Someone's baby is crying. 10k echoes for a basic enemy. I wonder if we're near the end of the game. Oh, 2 pigs. But what's this? Hella eyeballs! What cursed location have we come to where even the pigs know way too much about space? Oh, and they breathe frenzy at you now. Oh wait, I'm gonna die. I don't think I even remembered that they breathe frenzy. With all those eyeballs, it makes sort of sense. Yeah, eye pigs are pretty grim. Luckily, every additional run we have to take at this, boss gets us closer to perfecting our build, and then we can fill out our stats with whatever we want, really. If I'm not mistaken, we are 2 levels off the fated 40 blood tinge, and I will not, promise you, I will not end the game without 40 blood tinge, but... Hello. Hello. Yeah, you get a fair few souls running this bit, which is cool. I like souls. Even more than souls, I like blood echoes. Wow. Regression's in the chat calling me a pig who knows about space, and like, I'm wounded. Not only that you compare me to a pig, but also that you'd allege that I know about space. I don't know shit about space. I know shit about, like, basic vacuum systems. I've spent quite a lot of time avoiding knowing anything about space. Space is like an extremely empty Excel spreadsheet. There's nothing there. Now, vacuum systems, they've got a lot going on. So look at that, 40k. Oh no. Ooh, that's a lot. Okay. Let's not get hit by that again, shall we? Yeah, honestly, I think we can probably kill those friends and then, like, go home and fully level up. Like, they really start piling on the echoes in this particular, just this one run. Is there maybe? Oh, yeah, there's a shortcut we can enable, isn't there? Let's enable that shortcut before we risk all of these juicy echoes. Goodbye. Hello, we'll talk about you in a minute. Funkstar's in the chat asking if we can stab pigs in the bum for a one-hit kill. We fully cannot. The pigs at this point in the game have too much health for us to kill in one go. our visceral attack does something like... Our visceral attack does like 1,000 damage and their health bar is like 3,000?
Welcome. What is... Very well. Let me...
Fear the old blood. Ugh.
Farewell, good may.
Come on, come on. Is that enough? I feel like that might have just been just not quite enough.
Very well. Let...
Ugh, ugh. Wounded.
Farewell.
Yep, I'll be right back.
Welcome. What is it you desire? Very well. Let me... Farewell, good may.
So we did it. We did it, friends. 40 blood tinge. Just in time for the final boss. Well, final-ish boss. It's actually the first of like 3 bosses that we're going to be doing. But I'm gonna rush it up and see how far we get. We're gonna get to the top of that tower and have a chat about what is there. Funkstar is goading me in the chat. I'm not gonna rise to it. So yeah, our blood attacks should do a fair bit of damage now. Before we use the shortcut, let's just show you what I mean. Transformation attack for 500. Yeah. Damage is our middle name. Jane Damage Bloodborne. So, this area is called Murgo's Loft, right? So far, throughout Murgo's Loft, we've seen, you know, a lot of very gothic, weird, weird is a bad word to use, very gothic, ostentatious structures, the kinds that we've seen all throughout Bloodborne. But as we achieve a greater and greater height in the world, and we think about what altitude means in the world of Bloodborne and has meant so far, what Murgo's Loft is and what it represents gets kind of interesting. Anybody remember this lady with her, well, you know, her damaged birth organs? That's definitely what we're meant to read from this anyway. So, we last saw her at the descent of the Blood Moon. And, we saw her just after we killed Rom, right? So, these things in contact with, so we saw this person, this unearthly tall person, and you know, as any Lovecraft reader will tell you, unearthly tall is instantly means they're divine, easy. In fact, even Tolkien would have said such things. So yeah, unearthly tall means divine. So yeah, divine, damaged birth organs, Murgo's Loft, and legions of attendants. So who's Murgo? Wow. No need to be so cagey, guys. projects that we're here for. Did you really think Bloodborne was going to end without even more weird ruminations on the idea of a monstrous femininity? Because you'd be wrong. This is Murgo's Wet Nurse, and is the first of as few as one, but as many as 3 final bosses of Bloodborne. So, I guess that, the sort of, you know, plinky-plonky lullaby music that we're listening to here, coupled with Murgo's loft and its many legions of attendants, coupled with the boss literally being Murgo's wet nurse, who is also like a cluster of horrible scythes and cloaks and sort of raveny stuff. Also, my feet making that horrible crunching noise. Oh no, this boss can do that thing. Wow, we're so it's blood time. So yeah, from this we can pretty reasonably understand. Oh yeah, that lullaby music is the music box. Good catch. As someone who had not used the music box before, that didn't even occur to me, but now it's obvious. So yeah, from this we can pretty reasonably intuit that Murgo, of whose loft, of whose wet nurse that was, Murgo is pretty strongly implied to be the lost child of the gods, basically. Up here at, you know, probably the greatest height you can achieve in the world of Bloodborne, or at least, sorry, I guess this doesn't really, as it's in its role as a sort of strange nightmare place, doesn't really have like a direct hierarchy, but it's, you know, it's not by accident that you can't see anything. There's, you know, nothing even remotely compares to the altitude of this tower in the world that we can see in this nightmare. So this here is the Divine Mother, I guess, having, I don't know, maybe not given birth to her progeny as quite she expected, having prepared this lavish, you know, this lavish tower, all these servants, this wet nurse for her godchild, and things didn't go her way. And this is, I guess, the last major event in the history of Bloodborne that is presented to the player to understand and think about, like, what that might mean for you and for everything. Is like there are no major revelations about the history of the space after this one, and you know the other ones that we've done that we didn't necessarily have to do in the order that we did. So after this, you could, for example, go to the Upper Cathedral Ward and have a chat with them about Ebrietas, for example. Oof. Comboed. In the exact same way again. I'm disappointed. So Nat is in the chat asking if the corridor leading up to this boss fight is meant to be evocative of like a waiting room, I guess, like a doctor's waiting room. So all these people in cages on these like benches and stuff like that outside this place where we find the image of this child. And like, I think that's a pretty solid read. It's not something that ever really occurred to me before, but I can see that totally. It's certainly not like, you know, it doesn't strike me as, ooh, chest. Well, don't want to miss that. It might be pointless, but weird. Huh. I'd completely forgotten, or perhaps even never known that that was there. What might that mean? Even having played it for bloody ages, I'm still learning new things about Bloodborne. Okay, so try not to overextend quite so much this time. Yeah, this definitely does resemble like a chamber of people waiting for news of a birth, right? That's neat. I like that. But dang. A whole lot of people, including this either short or juvenile person, totally shriveled up and caged for this. Oof. This time. No. Hello. She slash. Fuck. Okay, just wait. Oh, okay. Oh, nearly died there. guess she is. Weird. So, we did it. We killed Murgo's wet nurse. We killed the hired help of the gods themselves. Go us. And we also got all 4/3 of the umbilical cord. Hooray. But that's neat, right? Because the ones that we found were definitely, like, hidden. So, at least right at the end of the game, the required, I guess, final nightmare boss for you to fight, they at least show you the vehicle to perhaps greater enlightenment about the game. Like, it's neat. So, yeah. That's it. We've slain the nightmare. Which was, you know, good for us. We did it. So, now we know that of the many tumultuous events to lead to the... Oh, yeah, we did it! We got the nice amount of insight! Yes! Yes! What a great way for this stream to end. So, how about that? The nightmare is slain, but the dream too, maybe. Peculiar.
Good hunter, you have come. Dawn will soon break. This night and this dream will end. Gammon awaits you at the foot of the great tree. Very well. Let the echoes become your strength. Let me stand.
We don't want any more blood tinge, do we? No. Let's get a little bit more stamina. A full 5 more stamina. Yeah. We don't need more health at this point. We want more stamina. Every little helps. So.
Farewell, good hunt. May you find.
We have. Our home is on fire. The only safe location, or the only location that we believe to be safe, is on fire. And at the foot of the great tree, over there somewhere, Graham, who we have soured on over time, waits for us. Truly the climax of the main story of Bloodborne has begun, which means this is a perfect place to end this episode of Jane Bloodborne's House of Eyeballs. So yeah, thank you all for coming. Thank you for the bit donations. Every little helps with those. And as usual, thank you all for watching. Thank you for talking in the chat. Thank you for just being here. It's great to have you just being here. To answer the questions that the chat is asking, Flotara was asking if I'm going to do the DLC. Yes, I am going to do the DLC. So, here's how this is going to go. Having PlayStation Plus with the PS4 affords me a weird, unique benefit where I can store my save file and upload it to the cloud and then download it again later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up some little admin things now. Off camera. I'm going to finish up some admin things and begin next stream ready to fight the final boss, or one of the 2 final bosses. What I will then do is between each, because basically there are 3 ways that the main game can end, and all of them boot you into New Game Plus without allowing you to come back. And I want to see all of the endings. I want to talk about all of the endings with you. They're all very interesting. And considering that fighting these bosses is the only thing standing between us and them, I don't think it's unreasonable for us to do all 3 in one go. So what I will be doing is I will be getting one ending, and then downloading my save file again, and then getting another ending, downloading my save file again, and then getting another ending. And then I'll have all 3 endings, and I'll download my save file a 4th time, so we can, having none of the endings, get start with the DLC, because I do not want to do the DLC in New Game Plus because it's hard as balls. So, thank you everyone for coming, and next week's episode of Jane Bloodborne's House of Eyeballs will be, I imagine, the season finale. But until next week, that is it from me, and that is it from you. Goodbye.